Hey everyone, welcome to this video presentation. Today I will, on behalf of my co-authors, present our work titled OtherTube. Here we build a system to facilitate content discovery and reflection by exchanging YouTube recommendations with strangers. The issue of filter bubble is the motivation behind this work. Algorithms create filter bubbles by producing output that are consistent with users' existing interests and filtering out ones that are inconsistent with other interests or past activities. Here, as you can see in this figure, YouTube uses users' past activities such as search and watch history for the purpose of candidate generation and rank the related content through their algorithms. Consequently, the resulting recommendations may often seem like a set of recycled content. This quote by one of our participants further illustrates this problem that users have when it is hard for them to get past the recycled content produced by YouTube's algorithms filters. Sometimes they have to even go incognito to act like a different person to find new content. Even when these platforms introduce features to diversify content recommendations, their feature may not provide the adequate amount of diversity user might be expecting. For example, YouTube recently introduced a new feature called New to You. The purpose of this feature is to diversify content. Here is an example of normal recommendations coming from YouTube feed. And here is some of the new recommendations after New to You feature is activated. From a cursory look, you will notice that the new suggestions do not look so different, potentially coming from a set of previous topics. To help improve awareness of filter bubbles, we use the concept of showing alternate perspective from ACA literature. Some prior work used such alternate viewpoints, particularly to balance political news consumption. Examples of such works include Sean Munson's Balancer widget, which summarizes users' news consumption over a week by their political leaning. The purpose is to nudge users into consuming news coming from other links. There's also another tool called Pop, which augments news stories with similar stories but coming from opposing leaning sources. Similar to the other work, this one also tries to nudge people into reading these related stories. Based on this prior work, we take the approach of allowing users to exchange their YouTube recommendations at the top of YouTube homepage with strangers. We built a system called OtherTube as a Chrome extension for this purpose. As shown in this figure, OtherTube embeds strangers' recommendation feed at the top of users' YouTube home. Right below, we can see the recommendations users receive from YouTube, which is collected by OtherTube as part of exchange with other users of the system. In OtherTube, user can interact and browse users through three different interaction buttons: a button to browse between different users, a button to browse different recommendations coming from the same user, and a button to pin a user. For further context, OtherTube also allows users to share their persona as shown in this image here. OtherTube allows users to create their persona with several features that they can choose. User can choose to show or not show their avatar seen at the top here. Then they can select their demographic information like gender, identity, age, race, or location. Finally, they can also share a self-described bio with other users. Apart from presenting their demographic information, OtherTube also lets users to choose what video recommendations they do want to share and what they do not want to share. As we can see in this figure here, user can use the trash button at the corner of each video to remove videos they do not want to share. Using this tool, we investigated three research questions. First, whether users are able to discover new content using this tool. Second, how different demographics interact with this tool. And finally, what kind of reflection occurs from using this tool. For this purpose, we conducted a 10-day study deployment by inviting participants to Facebook advertising. 41 participants participated in this study. Users were balanced in terms of gender, but there were some skew in terms of race and political affiliation. During the 10-day period, we asked users to fill out a daily survey questionnaire. This questionnaire contained a set of Likert scale and open-ended questions related to our research questions. For example, whether there was something that caught their attention each day, or if they learned something new about themselves, their own taste, or about others on a particular day. In response to our research questions about content discovery, analyzing users' daily survey responses, we found that users found new interests from using OtherTube, like the classical music video that this user did not normally listen, we can see in the screenshot. In addition, some also rediscovered some old interests that they used to like in the past. Examining users' interaction with OtherTube over time, we saw people with lower age or lower need for reflection interacted more with the buttons. Additionally, as days passed by, the interaction also decreased. We think that one of the reasons behind this limited interaction over time is due to the limited number of users present in the system for the purpose of the study. Furthermore, we also asked why users did not want to interact with certain content and found that users mentioned offensive nature or inappropriate nature of content that discouraged them from interacting with the system. In their self-reflection, users realized their similarities with others. Like the user suggested here, he was surprised by this fact. On the other hand, some also further wanted to communicate with users that they felt this connection with. By reflecting on others, some users realized that certain stereotypes like age-based stereotype or gender-based stereotype do not always fit. Users also realized how diverse content can be on YouTube compared to what they typically see every day on their recommendation feed. To summarize, in this work, we designed a system for exchanging YouTube recommendations with strangers. Our 10-day study shows some promises in ways such exchange could help users discover new content and allow them to reflect on their content consumption. Overall, there are some potential applications of this type of designs on heavily algorithmically curated systems. Please check out the paper for further details. Thank you.